Hello, the beautiful people of my English class. What you just saw in the intro was Tekken 7. Now, Tekken 7 is a really interesting game because while it has all these crazy mechanics where people are flying and doing crazy combos everywhere, there's also a unique language associated with this community, which is why I'm making this video today to explain the beginner level language of Tekken 7. There's also an advanced language, but it's pretty hard to implement if you don't know what you're talking about. So let's get right into it. First off, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now these are going to be your attack commands. They are associated right here on the PS4 DualShock. This would be 1, this would be 2, 3, and 4. And if you're a really interested and sophisticated gamer, you might have one of these. So your buttons here would be 1, 2, 3, and 4. So here I am with my DualShock. So 1 and 2 are associated with your upper part of your body, the upper limbs. And 3 and 4 are associated with your lower limbs. So this would be left punch, left kick, right kick. Do a little bit of ASMR if you guys are into that. So we have 1, 2, 4, 4. 1, 2, 4, 4. 1, 2, 4, 4. 1, 2, 4, 4. Okay, so great job. You learned 1, 2, 3, 4. Now it's time to implement that with directional inputs. Everyone's favorite. So here we have forward, up, up, back, down, down, and down forward. And last but not least, neutral. Directional inputs are very important because they're also where you're going to be using the block. So if you hold back, you block your mids and highs. And if you hold down back, you block your lows. Now, it is very crucial to remember, Tekken is not your normal fighting game. Instead of fighting on a 2D plane, Tekken revolves around the 3D plane. That means you can move around. It's not linear. It's not just punches and jumps and punches. No, you can sidestep, which is pretty crazy to me. So a sidestep is just done by either holding down to neutral really quickly or up to neutral really quickly. And with the 3D plane comes the exploitation of movement, which is usually done with the backdash. So just back, and it moves your player back pretty quickly. But what if I told you there's an even quicker version to do it? And this is a pretty advanced term, but it's used a lot in competitive play, so I'll be talking about it here. So this term is called the Korean backdash. You can see here on screen. It's pretty sophisticated. Now, how did a backdash suddenly become Korean, you might ask yourself? Well, it's because the Korean players, 1, figured this out, that you could cancel your backdashes into a down back motion really quickly. And 2 is because they're considered to be the best Tekken community in the world in terms of skill. So with movement out of the way, we go to our parries. So everyone has a universal low parry. They can grab someone's foot when they try to hit him with the low, you just yank it out from under them. Now these low parries are really good for combo starters, but there's also parries, which are different from the universal low parry. You see, parries can either usually lead to the attack being just completely nullified, or a parry with the counter attack. Next up is frame data. So frame data is what's used to describe characters' attacks or their states after blocking an attack or doing an attack. So there are 60 frames in a second, meaning that every second there are 60 different pictures being displayed on your monitor, which I think is kind of crazy. But if somebody says jab comes out in 10 frames, that's because, 10 divided by 60 is 1/6. So that means the attack comes out in 1/6 of a second, which is pretty fast. Now, people may also refer to plus frames or negative frames. So plus frames is when a character doesn't attack and they can hit jab before their opponent. Now, negative frames refers to the opposite, when they do an attack but they can't jab before the opponent, leaving them at a disadvantage. So plus frames are good, negative frames are bad. So throws are actually pretty easy to understand. So each throw is just one of the limbs, one of the opposite limbs, so your upper and lower limb pressed together. So it'd be 2 and 4, 1 and 3, 2, 4, or 3, 1. Now every character has unique throws assigned to them, so depending on your character, your buttons will be different. But each throw can be broken by either pressing 1 or 2 at the right time. And now we get into punishing and whiff punishing. So first of all, you need to understand what whiffing is. Now, it's not referring to smelling, but it's actually referring to missing. So if I were to throw out a punch and it missed my opponent, I'm put at a disadvantage and the opponent can strike back. That's called a whiff punish because I missed my attack and they took advantage of that, so they punished me for throwing out a move that didn't hit them. Now this next term is called double Luigi. Can you guess what it means, what it stands for? Probably not. So double Luigi refers to a final round in which the last set of the last match of the last round is being played in a Tekken tournament. Now, I really like this term because 1, I think it sounds really funny, like double Luigi, and 2, because its origins are actually pretty interesting. So this term was coined, double Luigi, because a Japanese commentator commentating Tekken 5 once said Dabu Rishi to hype up the final round, and someone in the crowd was like, hey, it sounds like he kind of said double Luigi, and after that everyone's just been saying double Luigi.
The best whack-a-mole, check out this hammer! Oh, he bet it might be dead.
Oh, he's dead.
He's dead. And double Luigi! Final round, tournament point, or reset point, let's go!
Now into my honorable mentions. So these terms aren't necessarily important, but I feel like they're unique enough to make their own way into this video. So our first one is
archetype is ranged space control, or more succinctly, flying through the air with some bullshit from 10 miles away.
And last but definitely not least, popping off / excitement. So popping off is like not your normal like, woo, I won. No, this is like big celebration, like jumping out of your chair, smashing your controller, running around, doing laps around the venue that you're at. It's pretty interesting.
Oi, what he's doing?
Oh, he got him!
Don't stay on the ground!
They got him!
Margin!
The crowd is exploding! Woo! Little Margin going to top 8 winner! Give him the brown! Give him the brown!
Let him know, Margin. Let him know.
Let the world know you are here to play!
Thank you so much for watching my video, and I hope you learned a little bit more about Tekken 7, and I hope you enjoyed the video as well. Ripped jeans, skin was showing, hot night, wind was blowing. Where'd you think you're going, baby? Hey, I just met you, and this is crazy. So here's my number, so call me maybe. It's hard to look right at you, baby. So here's my number, so call me maybe.